Okay. Oh, before we start, I would like to say we're giving a shout out right now to Donald Guzzi, who produced the music that you're hearing right before our podcast starts and in the end credits too. Obviously, you guys have been hearing this for the past, like, what, 3 episodes? This is our 3rd episode, right? So for the past
this is our 3rd or 4th, yeah. But we have not had a chance to hear it yet. So I mean, we have briefly listened to it before we started recording, but we're so happy with it. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you so much, Donald. He is an amazing music composer, director. He's just amazing. We're going to put all of his information in our podcast summary in this one and in every one of them. And yeah, we're super excited for that. This is starting to be really cool. Sarah and I have been trying to meet every week to do podcast episodes. So this has been fun.
This is way fun.
It's very rewarding. But aside from Donald and his music producing, let's get down to
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Donald. All right, Sarah, let me ask you.
Ask away.
Have I ever told you about how my mother would scare me into behaving like a good little girl? I never.
What?
Yeah.
No, do tell.
Well, she used to scare me with a creature called El Coco, which then became the reason why I always got good grades. I behaved well-ish and went to sleep without being a menace, usually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because if not, he'd come during the night and take me away.
Oh, so he's like the Boogeyman. Okay, well, that's way cool.
Yeah, exactly.
We know our topic today. Tell me more about El Coco.
Well, it all began back in the early 20th century with a man named Francisco Ortega. He was sick with tuberculosis, which, for those who might not know what tuberculosis is, it's a contagious bacterial disease that affects the lungs and was actually pretty prevalent in the 19th century due to overpopulation in cities and a lot of lack of sanitation.
Gross. And also, that's awful.
It is. There were so many deaths back in the day, and a lot of it was because of a lack of sanitation. So now, instead of poor Francisco seeking help from a professional doctor, he instead went to seek help from a curandera. For my non-Spanish speakers, looking at you, Sarah.
How dare you, but thank you.
I love you. A curandera is a traditional healer or kind of like shaman of sorts who uses natural grown remedies.
Oh, kind of like an herbalist. Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. But this particular curandera had a very unique sort of treatment idea for our beloved Francisco. She recommended that he drink the blood of children.
No! Bad herbalist. No.
This is a very bad herbalist, yes.
I revoke that title for you.
She's like, revoked. Sarah does not enjoy this. So our curandera goes ahead and tells him this. And of course, on curandera's orders, did you see what I did there? Yeah, doctor's orders. Yeah, there you go. He obviously went into the streets looking for a child ready for picking.
Gotta get him fresh.
Yeah, you gotta get him fresh off the rack. Oh my God, that's terrible. Now, sorry, I don't know why every time I have this like raspy voice in the morning that you guys only get. Because then afterwards I sound like a chipmunk. So.
I was about to say, it's part of that sultry siren tone. Come on.
Yes, it's the sultry siren, yes. So now some stories state that he kidnapped a 7-year-old boy named Bernardo and then stuffed him into a cloth bag.
What?
But yeah, like just grabbed him like Santa Claus.
In a bag. Okay, cool.
The story seemed to make waves in this time, enough that the story became one of legend and myth for all parents trying to have their child behave, because they would come out saying like, do you want to be Bernardo? You want me to? I'm going to call it Coco right now and be like, right now, come pick up this bad child. Like that.
Do you want to be Bernardo?
You want to be Bernardo. Hashtag don't be Bernardo. So
perfect.
One of the very sweet but scary ways of saying this, and Sarah's going to translate what I'm going to say, would be, duérmete niño, duerme ya, que viene el Coco y te comerá.
Sleep, child, go to sleep right now, or else El Coco will come and eat you.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, the Cuban way was, para de portarte mal, porque vas a ver que voy a llamar al Coco, y después tú vas a pedir que mami te coge. Y mami no te va a coger.
I can see your mom saying this. I can absolutely see your mom just going like, Yeti!
She would be like, behave, girl. This ain't no joke. I got El Coco on speed dial right now. So, and I'd be like, no, mami, no me coge El Coco. So that was like my constant fear was my mom doing that. But, I mean, super sweet of our Latino parents, though, right?
So sweet.
Like, just, yeah. It's safe to say that Francisco's potential remedy of child's blood just, it didn't work. You know what I mean? But
weird.
Dang, did our parents use this story to keep us all in check, right? It was either that or the belt or the chancleta. So it was either or. So either you got kidnapped, you got smacked by the belt, or you got hit in the face with a chancleta.
I'm like, I grew up with 2 of the 3, so there we go. I'm learning about the third now.
You're right there.
I'm learning about the third.
There's been different tales about how El Coco, or also called El Cuco, grabs children. A famous one deriving from Spain being that he actually hides under beds.
I knew there was a reason I bought a bed that doesn't have space underneath it.
Yeah. You see, you were the smart child. I didn't know that history.
Oh, no. I'm saying as an adult, because I did grow up with the bed that had space underneath it where you're like, oh, don't let your hand or your foot go over the edge.
Oh, my God, yes.
So
have you seen that meme of like that it's like you stick one leg out and then like there's like the hand that grabs your leg? I've always kept my leg in. And I even like I put my feet under like the blanket.
Nothing can touch.
I topple it. Yeah.
No touchies.
No touchies. No touchies. So this seems to compare a lot with our westernized myth of the Boogeyman. He also has several different appearances that he goes by. I personally knew him as the human-shaped man with glowing eyes, but there was also a monstrous hairy being. Honestly, either one would have scared me, so.
I didn't even grow up with this legend, and I am terrified. I'm also a chicken, so you know.
Well, listen, bok, bitch, I'm right there with you. So, I tried finding out a little bit more as to why it's called El Coco. Coco is actually Spanish for coconut, but it's also referred to someone's head, especially if you're a hard head. They'll be like, bro, tú tienes una cabeza de coco. So,
I like that. Nice.
But if we look at where this originated, I mean, Francisco could have had the nickname Coco, which is, you know, especially in Spanish, like they'll just play with your name to like sound like something else. I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe this is the coffee talking. You know, I might be wrong, but I'd like to think maybe this all originated from Francisco, and so that's why it's called El Coco.
I love it.
Like I said before, my mother used to love threatening me to behave well or El Coco te va a coger. And so it worked for a few good years, but alas, my unchecked ADHD did not care about being kidnapped by an ugly monster.
It strikes again.
To be quite frank, honestly, I'm certain that if I was kidnapped by El Coco, he would just literally bring me right back. He'd be like, ma'am, please do something about your kid, bro. Because I'm sure that I would have annoyed him, so.
What? Are you telling me he doesn't want to hear about every single detail in Easter Egg and Sailor Moon? His loss.
Ooh, you're starting something, Sarah. Do not. I will go into a tangent.
Stay on track or else El Coco's coming for you. Okay, stay on track.
Okay, so I have told you the Spanish way. I actually asked too, like some of my friends. Some of my Hispanic friends were like, "Oh my God, yes, my mom definitely told me about it, Coco." And then others are like, "¿Y qué es eso? I have never heard of that before." So I feel like it's different with every household, but for me, El Coco did exist. But now, Sarah, take me away into the Americanized, or not even Americanized or Westernized, because there is boogeymen in general all over the world.
Yeah. So, and I love the fact that you bring up the fact that you were asking your friends about El Coco and everything, and some of them were like, oh yeah, my mom used to do this to me, and others were like, who are you talking about? Because like El Coco really is a boogeyman. But what exactly is a boogeyman?
Tell me.
So, in our homework, the term boogeyman is a relatively modern title that originates from the Middle English word bog, meaning specter or terror or scarecrow. And since this figure appears in so many global myths, it's difficult to suss out its origins.
By the way, not to be confused with today's sus, which means suspicious. Although myths are sus in general, and I obviously, when I was doing, when you were doing your script, I did not search for the word sus because I knew what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that.
Exactly.
You know that term. Perfect. Welcome to Story Sirens. We learn history and vocabulary. So, but with that in mind, the fact that the boogeyman is sort of this globally feared entity, we're going to use the term boogeyman as a catch-all for the monsters that fit this profile, even though that term is derived from Middle English. But like I said, across the globe, boogeyman stories are used as warnings to children in order to get them to behave, or are naturally born of children's fears and anxieties. For the most part, boogeymen are a simplification of warnings parents would give to their children.
Which then would result into generational trauma. Because we don't trust nobody. You might be the boogeyman. I don't know.
Hey, you know what?
Did you remember how your mom called me the axe murderer?
Oh, she still calls you that. She still calls you that. Yeah. So, I mean, but also I think I like referring to generational trauma as myths and legends instead. This is stylish.
That's good.
It's a rebrand.
Oh, I like that. Is it trauma or is it a myth and legend? Yes.
So, for these simplified warnings parents would give to their children, rather than explaining to a small child that they shouldn't wander outside at night because of predators, both animal and human, or, instead of saying, don't go into the woods because it's full of poisonous plants and animals and you can get lost in them, it's much easier for parents to say there is a supernatural monster lurking out in the tree line.
Because that makes more sense. I mean, I feel like if my mom would be like, Jenny, no te vayas pa' afuera. Hay algo ahí que te va a hacer daño. Yeah, which I'm saying, Jenny, don't go outside because you're going to get hurt. No, my mom's like, el coco te va a coger. Sigue jugando.
Yeah, see? Well, and it's because, think about it. Think about when you were a little kid and everything. And so, while children can understand the motives of their parents, which mostly boils down to, oh, my parents just don't want me to have fun. My parents are a stick in the mud. My parents don't know what's really going on, and I want to go out and have an adventure in the tree line. You don't really know the motives of a boogeyman or a monster that's lurking outside. So that makes their actions more frightening. And
very true.
Yeah. And so the other source of boogeymen, other than just, parents warning their children of, don't go into the tree line because there's a monster, as children grow up and try to understand the world around them, their fears turn into monsters under the bed, in the closet, or outside their window, which are a lot easier to defeat with a nightlight than adolescent anxiety, growing up, and a world around them that they can't control.
This is true. Mm-hmm. And it still happens in your 30s.
Dadgum.
Yes, ma'am.
So some boogeymen are exceedingly violent in their legends, and others are more stealthy, choosing instead to snatch the misbehaving children in the middle of the night.
Maybe all of the boogeymen have tuberculosis and just go to the same curandera. She's like, baby, listen, Francisco made it. Francisco made it. Just go and snatch a couple kids. Your tuberculosis, go bye-bye.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why they're angry. Maybe that's why they're all angry. Because they got lung problems.
They can't breathe. Yeah, they're not growling, they're wheezing.
There you go. We solved the mystery.
We did. So, there are boogeymen that are scary and violent and stealthy. And strangely, there are a couple of boogeyman myths where the boogeyman in question is there to protect the innocent. And we'll mention one here in a little bit. But that's the exception to the rule.
Yes.
Before we go any further, fun fact, if you search boogeyman on Wikipedia, an illustration of El Coco is the first thing to pop up.
Yes, family, we made it. Does he kill children? Maybe, but we made it.
But, he's the blueprint.
There you go.
He is pretty much the blueprint for, our modern-day Western boogeyman. So, way to go, El Coco.
Right, Francisco, look at you.
So, illustrations in mind, there's not a specific shape or appearance to a boogeyman. They vary culture to culture, household to household, but common features of boogeymen are large teeth to eat children with.
Yummy, of course.
Horns and claws to tap on windows and doors to coax children into letting them inside. Glowing eyes to see in the dark. I'm looking at you, Francisco. And otherworldly combinations of human and animal features.
Do you think that they manicure their claws? I can imagine a boogeyman with oppress Hello Kitty themed nails. I would let them take me. I'd be like, who's your nail lady?
Right.
Because I want them.
I'd be like, is that dip? Is that acrylic? What's happening?
Is that acrylic or dip?
Yeah,
and then that's when they bring us back to our parents.
How's the nail bed feeling underneath it? Does it peel the natural nail or
or they tap. Imagine that they tap on the window to a TikTok song.
Ooh, ASMR.
It's getting late, 'cause I'm a singer. It's just tapping on I think a lot of TikTok kids would follow that. Anyways,
oh my gosh. Yeah,
I would. I'd sing with it.
ASMR boogeyman, that's going to be a new trend. So, and then while most boogeymen appear to be masculine or androgynous, there are female boogeymen as well. So, Yinny,
yes.
Now that we've kind of established the baseline for sort of what a boogeyman is, would you like to hear about boogeymen across the world?
Why, yes, I would.
All right. So this is not the end-all be-all list, but here are a few boogeymen around the globe.
That we chose, yes.
That we chose. These are our favorite, literally Sarah and Yinny's. So, of course, we have our favorite El Coco from Spain and Latin America. And then we have l'uomo nero, or the black man of Italy, who wears a long black cloak and a black hood and comes to take away children who do not eat their food. Now, he does not harm or eat the children, but he just takes them away to a mysterious place to live for a full year, and then he returns them.
I mean, wait a second. He's not wait, I had to be wait a second. So, I mean, he doesn't harm them physically, but mentally, those kids are checked out. That's it. Are you telling me that's not... He is harming them mentally.
Again, it's not trauma. It's your own personal mythos.
Oh, God.
And he also has his own nursery rhyme in Italy. I don't have it here in front of me, but again, nursery rhymes, boogeymen, the horrors of childhood.
The horrors of childhood.
In Afghanistan, we have Madar-e-Al, and she does harm children. She is this hag-like creature who kills infants. Legend says that burning the seeds of a rue flower near the baby's crib will protect the baby from her. And then we have the Sack Man of Spain, Portugal, and Latin America, who kidnaps children by stuffing them in a sack in the middle of the night.
Which also coincides with El Coco. And I noticed that too, demographically, there's a lot, for example, Spain, Portugal, Latin America. In that same section, they might have the stories a little different, but they all have key points that are the same. One of them being the sack.
Exactly. Yeah, it's these cultural touch points where it's okay, so we know that he has to hit, points A, B, C, and then we can kind of...
He has to have
mix up the
tuberculosis.
details.
He has to...
Yes, but whether or not he has glowing eyes, fangs, and
that's not important. That's not important.
Totally up to your region. Choose your own horror. Choose your own adventure. And then we have Cuca, a Brazilian woman-alligator hybrid who looks for children who refuse to go to sleep so she can either cook them into soup or turn them into soap.
Oh.
Pick one.
Do you want to help people smell nice, or do you want to fill someone's tummy? You get to choose. At least she gives you a choice.
You're helping others.
She's giving you a choice.
There you go. We have the Bootsman of Germany, who has various appearances depending on what region you're in, ranging from a gnome to a demon.
A demon gnome? A demon? You imagine? Wait, what's the movie that they're gnomes, but they're scary, but they're not gnomes, and they're like, and they're tiny.
Gremlins?
Yes. Yes!
Which, that's perfect. I'm so glad you brought that up because side note, Gremlins were kind of my original boogeyman. While you're talking about your mom would threaten you with El Coco, my parents would threaten me with, military school. If I did not behave, they were shipping me off. And, of course, I grew up very afraid of authority. And so I was like, oh, no, don't send me to military school. But as a small child, 5 years old, my parents put me in front of the TV and turned on Jurassic Park. And I'm just sitting there enamored with it. Just this is the greatest thing ever. I love this so much because I haven't been emotionally traumatized by Land Before Time enough.
Oh, my God.
And so my dad saw that I really liked that, and he goes, you know what? I'm going to show her Gremlins now. And my mom is going, do not do that. It's not the same as dinosaurs. She's going to hate it. And my dad's like, no, she loved Jurassic Park. She's going to love this. And my mom's like, a dinosaur can't fit under her bed. Gremlins can.
Gremlins can.
I slept with a nightlight for 8 years after that.
Man, and the gremlins are like,
yes!
And then now with this demon gnome reminded, I don't know, gremlins and gnomes to me are the same thing.
Exactly. Maybe I should double check the garden gnomes I have in my backyard.
Dude.
Are they being fed after midnight? Okay. So anyway, so Bootsman could look like a gnome or a demon. And then there was Der Schwarzmann, the black man who hides in the shadows, in dark corners, in closets, and under the bed. Anywhere that was dark and shadowy, hence his name. And he's part of a children's tag-style game called Who is Afraid of the Boogeyman?
I am.
Me. It's yes.
Me. We.
Both of us. Us. Grilla is an Icelandic female troll who eats naughty children on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Delightful. There's also there's a whole subgenre of Christmas boogeyman, which hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge
wink,
might
wink.
Be something a little bit closer to the holiday season.
Maybe. 'Tis the season to eat children.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we don't even cover Krampus in this, but we'll save him.
Oh, wow. Yes, we have to. Okay, stop.
No, you're good. We're going to move on to Canada, where there is Bonhomme Septeurs, who is the 7 o'clock man.
I honestly think that's wrong. Yeah.
Thank you, Canada.
This is the worst boogeyman. I have dinner at 7.
Well, and he comes after little children who don't go to bed at 7 o'clock.
You imagine, your parents are like, guys, we just had so much fun. Let's go home and have, late dinner. You're eating dinner, and then this guy just comes in and grabs your child because he didn't go to sleep at 7.
He's not in bed.
He's having poutine. Is it poutine or poutine?
Poutine, yeah.
Poutine. Why did I say poutine?
I don't know.
This is the same thing as a Benjamin Franklin thing. I don't know what's wrong with me
I don't
today.
know, but we should look up what that is later. So yeah.
By the way, if anybody's scratching their heads about Benjamin Franklin, if you are one of our siren seekers, you'll have fun figuring out why I'm talking about Benjamin.
You get extra content, and you get to hear all of our insanity.
No, you get to laugh at Yenny. That's really what it is. and feel bad for Sarah because she has to hear this for the rest of her life. So
I am blessed. All right. So yes, Canadian boogeymen, just as nice and thoughtful as Canadians. So anyway, then we have, and bear with me with the pronunciations. I am trying. So we have Abu Rigal Masluka of Egypt, or
that sounded right.
Also known as, thank you from my Cuban contingency, He is also known as the man with burnt skin. And this is an Egyptian cautionary character parents use to make their children listen to them. The man with burnt skin was injured as a child when he did not listen to his parents. And now he looks for misbehaving children to steal away and, you guessed it, eat them.
I don't think that's fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you were the one that didn't listen to your parents. What do I have to do with this?
Yeah.
What do I?
Yeah.
Unfair.
So, England has several boogeyman characters, but two of my favorites are Tom Dawkin, who had iron teeth to eat children, and Black Annis, a witch who had claws and a blue face and loved to eat children.
Yeah, there's a pattern here with boogeymen and eating kids. For my conspiracy theorists, like, do you know the conspiracy that, like, celebrities eat children or, like, drink children's blood?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Maybe they were boogeymen, too. Who knows?
Yeah, except, now we...
The Muppets? Were you going to say the Muppets?
No, I was going to say, but now they're just sort of... I love the Muppets! What are you talking about? No, I was just going to say, but now with our boogeymen, they're celebrities. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Or they're the Muppets.
Yeah. But England and the UK as a whole really, really has a whole bunch of boogeyman mythology. They call them boggarts and bogies and all that sort of stuff. And they have a whole lot of female boogeymen because they have Nellie Longarms, Jenny Greenteeth, and Grindylow, who all live in bodies of water and try to drown children in them.
And that doesn't traumatize you from swimming. So,
right?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Another female boogeyman who is one of my favorites is Baba Yaga from Russia and Ukraine. Among her many other questionable habits, she kidnaps naughty children and takes them home and fries them into a delicious meal. So at least she, does some breading and seasoning and, does something a little differently.
Salt and pepper. I mean, you know what, Sarah? Maybe we should wink, wink, do this one too. I think Baba Yaga has a lot for us to uncover.
Baba Yaga's got loads. So perfect.
I wonder if she has a cookbook. The best way to have your children. The book.
Not naturally, not in a hospital, in a 5-star restaurant.
A cast iron skillet. Hello.
Oh my gosh. So we also have Tolokoshi, who's part of the Zulu mythology in South Africa. It's often a creature summoned by traditional healers to frighten unruly children into behaving. So here it's not even the parents who are summoning this monster. It's the healers of the village.
Listen, the curandera did it too. I think there's another pattern. These healers got something. Something's off here.
These healers are tired of your nonsense. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're giving you some type of remedy.
Indonesia has a female boogeyman named Wiwi Gombel, who is the ghost of a woman who killed her husband when she learned that he was cheating on her.
I mean, can you blame her?
No. We're good. We're good.
Do it, girl. We do not condone you killing your partner if they cheat on you. They just suck.
They just really
Forget
suck.
them.
Like, we're categorizing her in that genre of horror known as good for her.
Good for her. Good for her. Good for her.
However, she's not a terrible ghost. She steals children from parents who mistreat them. She keeps them in her nest on top of a palm tree, which legend says that's where she lives, and she takes care of them. If she thinks the parents have mended their ways and are truly remorseful and are going to be better parents, she returns the children.
Okay, I feel like this is the same thing with the L'Uomo Nero, where you're not harming them physically, but they're checked out mentally. You know what it is that you're going, like, you meet someone and they're just like, hey, like, so tell me about, like, your life story. Oh, I lived in a palm tree for about a year. So, with this ghost creature, yeah. And
all said with that 10-yard stare.
Yeah. It was a time. It was a time.
Yeah, it'd be. I have some very interesting ideas on parenthood now, and women and monsters and palm trees.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. And then,
I don't know.
And then, of course, in our home here for me and Yenny, in the U.S., we have lots of different boogeymen. So we've got the Jersey Devil of the Pine Barrens. He's categorized as a type of boogeyman. I did not realize that just because all of the stories I've grown up hearing of him, it's just sort of like he wanders in the trees and he makes weird noises and he kind of terrorizes drivers. But apparently he does also sneak into houses to torment bad children.
I mean, I'm sorry to stop you here, but every time I hear Jersey Devil, do you imagine Jersey Shore?
Oh, absolutely.
Like Snooki coming in. Be like, who behaved like a bad child? Tell me right now. Or like, stop it, Ron. Stop it, child. Stop being bad. I would also be terrified of Jersey Shore boogeymen coming in.
I would so the Jersey Shore Devil also maybe even more terrifying than the Jersey Devil.
Yes. And it's just Snooki and Jen. I think that's her name.
Oh, I don't know.
Again, random information in
Pop
here.
Pop culture, modern history.
Pop culture. There you go.
Okay, so, we have the Jersey Devil of the Pine Barrens. We have...
Or Jersey Shore.
Shush. We have Bloody Bones of the southern regions. And Bloody Bones is a chattering skull accompanied by a dancing headless skeleton who tries to bite people.
Okay.
And we do have actual, written... proof, evidence. We have written histories of Bloody Bones immigrating with settlers from England. So he started out in England and we just brought him with us to the U.S.
Damn it.
But the more fascinating boogeyman, I think, we have Big Owl, who's a creature of Apache legends, who was used to scare children into obeying their parents and elders. There's a lot of owl symbolism and mythos in Native American legends, and they're really cool. The Yakama Nation of the Washington State area have a similar boogeyman, a group of 5 sisters that were witch owl hybrids called Tataklea, who ate all the foods that the Yakama deemed unclean, which I think is really interesting. These 5 sisters, these witch owl hybrids, would pursue any person that they found wandering at night to eat. Anybody, irregardless of age. But they did especially enjoy feasting on children as they were the most tender.
Yeah, they're tender. They're ripe. Ripe for the picking.
They're fresh.
They're fresh.
These witches would mimic the calls of family and friends to lure children away from their beds and out into the dark tree lines, which that's horrifying.
That is horrifying, but I'd like to mention that there's also a pattern of victims hearing their name called out in multiple myths and legends. And all of this ending in bad news if they followed the sound or answered the call. And I'm sure that we're going to have several episodes of other creatures and myths that kind of have this same thing. I think one of them is the Wendigo.
Yeah.
That they mimic calls.
Yeah, there's a whole genre of mythological and legendary creatures and monsters that's there is a reason that in certain parts of the U.S. it's like, oh, did you hear that? No. You heard
you
nothing.
Don't.
You heard
You do
nothing.
not hear anything.
Yeah.
So anytime that's why there's also this thing that I grew up with that's when your name is called out, look before you answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just make sure.
Yeah, do not respond.
Dude.
Yeah.
Right.
So in Inuit legends, Qualupalik is this female creature living in the waters of Alaska and Canada and Greenland, who lures children towards the edges of the ice with her humming or by tapping the ice from underneath so that, it lures them closer to the edges of the water, and she will grab them once they're close to the edge of the ice and she'll steal them away. And she has the traditional pack on her back that Inuit and a lot of Native American women would wear to like carry their babies, and she'll stuff the child in it and then dive into the water.
Well, at least it's comfortable.
Right? So,
at least it's comfortable. So, I mean, she's also tapping Sabrina Carpenter's espresso song.
Yes. So while this is not the exhaustive end-all be-all list of, worldwide boogeymen, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing all of these key features in these creatures around the globe. So it's just humans being humans coming up with stories that all have the same terrifying repercussions.
Or are they coming up with stories? You never know.
So,
along with that,
we also have our modern boogeymen. Think of, the legends of boogeymen have not died out just because we have electricity and, stone walls and everything.
And the Ring camera.
And Ring cameras, yeah. We have Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. He targets teens in their sleep, even though we were told that sleeping would keep the boogeyman away. Then, of course, there is Slender Man, the modern boogeyman of the internet.
Sarah, did you hear about just stop right now. Did you know about the murder involved with Slender Man?
The what now?
The what now?
What?
So I know, I'm so sorry. I have to go on a tangent because I followed this story. This was crazy when it came out. So it was actually coined the Slender Man stabbing, and it involved two 12-year-old girls luring their friend into a forest. And they repeatedly stabbed her. They stabbed her like 19 times to pretty much like appease the Slender Man. Like, to me, I feel that they stabbed her in general because they were trying to bring out the Slender Man. Now, Slender Man is an internet made up character that people really did believe in and still do. They still do, and it's crazy. The victim, thank God, miraculously survived.
Oh my gosh, thank goodness.
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
Oh, no.
In a shocking turn of events, both 12-year-olds were actually found not guilty because of, it was not guilty by mental defect, and they're actually still to this day committed into a mental institution. But I believe one of them recently got out, and she's just under surveillance until she's about like 37, if I'm not mistaken. But crazy what the internet can create and what the young generation believes in. Because you think about it, you're like, how did these 12-year-olds consider, like, yeah, let me just take my friend into a forest and stab her for the Slender Man?
I mean, this is part of that whole truth is stranger than fiction, and the greatest monster is mankind. So, with that in mind, if you're a parent listening to this, pay attention to
to your kitty,
to what media your children is imbibing.
Absolutely.
And, if you think that your friend is at risk of being stabbed to summon an internet deity, call a trusted
call
adult.
911. Yeah. Call 911 or tell your mom and dad.
Okay, so thank you for that nightmare, Yenny.
You're welcome.
With our modern boogeyman on a lighter note, we have Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas. He's a literal boogeyman. That feels a little lackluster after hearing that story.
After two 12-year-olds trying to kill their friend. Yeah.
There's also the character Pitch from the film Rise of the Guardians and the Guardians of Childhood book series. And he's interesting because he was once a hero and a leader of great armies in his story, but was possessed and became the Boogeyman and the Nightmare King. And the only way to defeat him was to not be afraid.
Aww.
And, of course, throughout lots of fairy tales and everything, we have creatures that could be attributed to boogeymen or have boogeyman-like qualities, like the witch in the tale Hansel and Gretel. She can be considered a boogeyman because she is an unknown danger in the woods who, again, eats children.
Yeah, this is, and I'm sure that we're going to also have an episode just on witches. It might even be a multi-series because there's just so many types of witches out there that are known across myths and legends, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And they all have different cultural significances and everything. So, Yenny, I don't know about you, but I grew up horrified by this little movie made by Disney called Don't Look Under the Bed.
Oh my God, trauma.
That was a traumatizing movie full of boogeymen. Excuse me, boogie persons.
Also, real quick, if you guys don't know the actor, his name is Ty Hodges. He was so cute. I had the handsome. Biggest crush on him, and until he turned into the boogeyman in that part where like he had the pointy teeth. I was
he was terrifying. I cried. I cried every time. Yeah,
but I also feel like she was in love with her fictional character because there was like wait, she kissed him.
There was chemistry. There was chemistry
with a fake person. I don't even know how that worked out, but. Yeah.
It belongs on the internet. Anyway.
This is true.
Then, of course, sort of the last modern boogeyman that we'll touch on is the faun in the film Pan's Labyrinth. And he's a little bit more of a complicated boogeyman because is he trying to help the main character, Ophelia, believing her to be the reincarnated princess of his kingdom? Or is he a projection of Ophelia's mind as she tries to navigate her war-torn surroundings? You know, that kind of goes back to that, a lot of boogeymen are born of children's fears and anxieties. Some boogeymen can be helpful. You know, where is the line of what's real and what is fantasy in Pan's Labyrinth?
For sure. And I love that movie. I think I told you that movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I watched that movie because it was one of the only free movies when like DirecTV started. It was like one of the movies that was always free to watch. And I think I watched that movie like 10 times and I loved it. It was a little bit weird because then she's like the daughter of Christ or something. I don't know. There was like
there was a lot of weird stuff.
There was something there that it was like, is this religious? I don't know. It was
God bless Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo had a few things that he was doing there. I don't really understand it, but it was such a beautiful and kind of it was scary. Oh my God, remember the creature with the eyes?
Pale Man.
Hands?
Nope.
Pale Man. Yeah.
No Pale Man.
We need to do an episode on Pale Man.
So, with that in mind, Yenny, how are you feeling about those dark corners in your house? Listeners, how are you feeling about that dark space under your bed or, the closets and anything? Is there anything lurking there?
Ooh. Yeah, this is a really cool one. I do like doing these scary ones, although they do scare me.
Oh, yeah. I'm very glad we're recording in the morning so that when we're done, I can open up my door and just be like, sunlight!
Yeah, sunlight.
I'm safe. I'm free. It's okay.
And actually, Sarah and I brought up a new thing.
Yes, introduce this, Yenny.
Yes, I am so excited to introduce you guys. Homework! So fun, right? I know, right? So maybe you're like, man, these are such cool things. I want to learn a little bit more because there's absolutely no way we're going to do this in like under an hour. There's so much stuff. So we're calling this, at the end of every episode, we're going to give you a siren's call. And so today, here's your siren call for the week. Watch Pan's Labyrinth. And
if you're brave enough, because that is questionable for me for sure, watch Stephen King's The Boogeyman. We would love to discuss these films with you on our Discord.
Yes.
And we would love to discuss anything about any of the myths and legends that we cover. We know that there's a lot of details out there that we're missing, but, we're trying to kind of keep this in a tight hour or less. So,
we're trying.
There's a lot of information. There's a lot of cultural touchstones that we'd love to discuss with you. But yes, this week's siren call is for sure Pan's Labyrinth. And again, if you're bold and not too afraid of the dark, The Boogeyman.
Ooh. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you next week.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Story Sirens. You can follow me, Yenny, on Instagram at YennyAnn, and also Sarah on Instagram at Sarah Ruth Voice. Want to support us? Buy us a cup of coffee on Ko-fi. by searching ko-fi.com/storysirens. We've got lots of treats for those who become siren seekers. See you soon.